Hey guys, welcome to the episode of Cooking with Tovia. Today is my birthday. I'm going to be showing you guys how to decorate a fudge Oreo cake. It's going to be covered the outside with buttercream and then it's going to be airbrushed. We're going to cover the basis of how to fill and how to crumb coat a cake, and then I'm going to show you guys some of the basics of airbrushing. So please subscribe to my channel, and you're going to find uploads on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And when you subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell because it's worth it. So now we're going to begin by frosting our cakes, and I have a fudge cake that I made. You can find the recipe demonstration for this recipe in the description box. And I just have my bag filled here with some buttercream frosting, and I'm using Wilton Tip 2A, and I'm going to pipe a little bit of buttercream in the middle of my cake board here. And then I'm going to grab one of my cake layers. I'm going to peel the parchment off. Look how moist this cake is. It's very moist. So, press it down. Then we're going to begin with our filling. So I'm using the pastry bag because it just makes it easier. So, I'm just going to squeeze the pastry bag here. If I need to go over it, I will. I have the middle a little bit thicker because we're going to be pressing the cake. So it's going to smush the frosting. So place our second layer on. It's going to press. Just trying to make sure it's even. If there's any gaps between the layers, we're going to fix that. So try to make sure the cake is even as possible. I'm going to peel off this next layer of parchment, and we're going to do another layer of filling buttercream. We're going to take our third layer, place it on top, make sure it's even, make sure it doesn't look like the cake is leaning. So we have our top on here. I'm going to peel the parchment off. So I'm going to take some more buttercream and just we're going to put it all on top of the cake here. Now this method is what works. It's what's easier for me. So everyone has a different method of how they crumb coat their cakes. So the point of the crumb coat is just to seal the crumbs on the inside of the cake. So cake is pretty moist. I should have worked with my cakes frozen because it makes it easier to work with, but it's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just go around the sides of my cake with my buttercream frosting. And just smooth it very thin. Like I said, it's a crumb coat. And this is our chance to fix any gaps here. We can just take out the excess frosting and fill in the gaps. The good thing about this plastic cake board that I'm using is I can go in with a wet piece of paper towel and wipe it off to clean it before I do my airbrushing. So I'm scraping off all the excess buttercream that's on top, and I'm just going to give the good size one more good coat. I'm going to scrape it very thin, and any excess frosting that comes off the sides here, I'm just going to scrape it into my bowl. I have a hot, damp piece of paper towel here, and I'm just going to wipe all that excess buttercream off. I'm going to set this in my refrigerator, and I'm going to allow this to sit for about 15 minutes. I just want this to firm up a bit. So we'll be back in 15 minutes. I'm just going to smooth this frosting here. So my cake has been in the freezer for 15 minutes, and now I have some more buttercream frosting that I'm just gonna quickly frost on our cake, where our cake is easy to work with. I always have a piece of paper towel that is wet too, to wipe off my icing spatula. So just quickly work the frosting on the cake before all that frosting begins to set. Then I have a bench scraper that I just sort of just place against the edge of the cake, kind of holding it at an angle and holding it steady. And I'm just going to turn my turntable here, and this will help smooth the sides of the cake out. And I'm going to go back along the sides here to sort of clean it up a bit. And try to keep it turning, not stopping it too much, so that way your cake will be as smooth as possible on the sides here. And then for the top, I'm going to take my icing spatula, and I'm just going to turn it and work my way from the middle and the outside here. And then I just place my bench scraper on top and sort of twist the turntable. I'm not too concerned about the top being too neat because it's going to be decorated. So I'm going to stick this back in the freezer to chill for about 30 minutes. For a chocolate ganache, we're going to begin with our chocolate here in the bowl, and I'm using Ghirardelli chocolate. I broke it apart, and I have some hot butter. Then I had it in the microwave. I'm going to just kind of move the chocolate around to make sure that that butter is covering all of that chocolate, and I'm going to let this sit for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to stir it together. So our chocolate and butter has set for 5 minutes, and I'm just going to stir this until it's completely smooth. If you need to use a little whisk, you could. So just keep stirring because the chocolate will melt. Chocolate doesn't have to be too hot in order for it to melt because chocolate is very delicate. But as you see, everything is melted down. So I'm going to keep stirring till all the chocolate is melted, and then I'm going to set this aside. Okay, so my cake is sat in the fridge for about 30 minutes, and now we're going to begin with airbrushing the cake. And I have my airbrush machine, the PSI is set to about 15. And I'm using ChefMaster Violet. So I'm going to give it a shake. And I'm going to put a few drops in there. And then we're going to begin to airbrush. So when we airbrush, we have to hold our brush at a distance. So I'm going to have it kind of, a good distance from the cake, and then I'm going to work kind of in an up and down motion. And the further back you work, the lighter the coat is. So I'm just going to add a few more drops of color and just keep spraying my cake down. So I'm holding back at a good distance. So here you guys a better view here. Holding back at a good distance and just working up and down. Now if you want to put acetate under your cake, you could, but because my board is plastic, it's easy for me to just wipe it clean. The further back you work, the lighter it'll be. The closer you work, the darker it'll be. Then we go across the top of the cake. And just remember to keep it at a good distance and constantly turn the pedestal. I'm not using alcohol-based color. I'll get into more into alcohol-based color on my main channel, the Sugary Sweet. But so I'm just gonna spray it till I get it, you know, the way I want it to look. It's gonna have sort of dark spots and light spots. Now I'm gonna go in with the metallic gold. This is by ChefMaster. This color is a little bit thicker, so we're gonna add a few drops in. I'm not gonna bother cleaning the gun because this is going on top of the purple. I'm going to turn the PSI up to about 20 now. Just to kind of help blow that glitter out better. So I adjusted the PSI up to, let's see, I'm at a 25. Just for that thicker gold that's in there. You see it has a nice gold shimmer to it. Go across the top with the gold here. And I think this is good. So now I'm gonna get a wet cloth and clean the side of my board here. And I'll show you how I clean it. Just take your wet paper towel and just wipe. So just keep doing that until it comes completely clean. But like I said, if you want to use acetate, you could, but this works just fine. So the chocolate ganache that we made, the cake is cold. I'm going to just slowly just pour that ganache on top. And just sort of spoon it over. And just allow it to drip down the sides of the cake naturally. I'm going to turn the turntable and just let it drip down. So now I'm going to let the chocolate ganache sit on the cake until it hardens a bit, and I'm going to clean the board up and we'll be back. So the ganache is set. So I'm going to take some more buttercream that's light, and I'm just going to do little swirls. And I'm using Wilton Tip number, I believe this is 2D. I think it's the Wilton Tip number 2D. So every few little inches apart, we're going to do some rosettes, little rosette swirls. And then I have some Oreo style cookies. And I'm just going to place one to the middle. I think I should have, I'm going to do a swirl in the middle. We're just going to do a blob in the middle, I think. Blob. One in the middle, and then I'm going to take some cookie that I'm going to just kind of break apart and crumble. I'll just sort of take some of those crumbles and just kind of drop it over the top of the buttercream frosting. So there you have it, guys, the finished cake. I'm going to give you guys a better shot of it. So right here is the cake. Isn't it beautiful? I've already cut into it so you can see the inside, but beautiful purple, and you see that gold and that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful inside. Perfectly moist, even layers. If you want to see the recipe for the fudge cake, like I said, check the description box. So thank you everyone for supporting my channel. Thank you everyone for all your birthday wishes and presents. I really appreciate every last one of you guys. So here is the cake. I'm gonna give it a taste. Wow, that's so delicious. Please hit the thumbs up, share this video, add it to your playlist, and leave a comment. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to live and be well. Let's come together and love each other. Thanks for watching.